A mentor empowers a person to see a possible future and believe it can be obtained. Sean Hitchcock.
You're listening to Writing Roots, brought to you by Aspen House Publishing.
Welcome to Writing Roots. I'm Lee Hull.
And I'm Lee Esses.
Continuing our exploration of the character pillar of storytelling, we are getting into another very key character for your hero, and this is their mentor.
The mentor character is one of my favorites because they have a lot of really rich backstory compared to a lot of your other characters. They have that trauma, they have their reasons separate from the hero for wanting to conquer the villain in some way. They're complex, they're interesting, and preferable over pretty much anyone except maybe the villain in my storytelling world.
Some common examples you will see of a mentor character is Haymitch in the Hunger Games.
Basically, every Jedi at some point in any of the Star Wars ends up being a mentor character.
Morpheus from The Matrix.
Jack Sparrow kind of plays that role to Will, at least initially, until they get separated.
He eventually becomes the main character later on, but he definitely starts out as a mentor to Will Turner in the world of piracy.
Tony Stark does this quite a bit to Peter Parker. And apparently, this is a thing in professional wrestling. I am not fluent in professional wrestling, so if you listeners want to give me some examples, feel free to email us or hop on our Discord channel and go, duh, it's like this, and you can set me straight.
And of course, I can't say this without bringing up one of my favorite books, and that is Kelsier being the mentor character to Vin.
Some of the tropes that you find with the mentor character, you can actually find with a lot of your different characters. And the mentor character sometimes is split up between a lot of different characters, depending on how this hero needs to learn about the world. I've been reading a lot of Portal fantasies where the characters go into a team, and then each member of the team teaches the hero about a certain aspect. So they temporarily wear the mentor hat, as compared to Obi-Wan constantly wearing the mentor hat for Luke.
As for these mentor characters, you will often see that they have some kind of secret. There is a piece of their backstory that they are keeping hidden that is usually conveniently important to the plot, and the hero knows that they're hiding something and gets annoyed by it. But there is usually, or should be in your writing, a legitimate reason why this mentor character is not sharing that information. That's usually because they're still dealing with past trauma. They're worried about the fallout of passing along this information. Sometimes it's that worry of, well, if they know, then it's going to happen, but if they don't, it can't happen kind of idea. Usually linked in a lot of ways to their trauma in past dealings with the villain character.
Another common trope you're going to find with the mentor character is the passing the torch. If you watch the movie The Mask of Zorro, the character who is Zorro at the beginning and the character who is Zorro at the end are two different characters. One is teaching the other how to be Zorro so that the name of the legend can live on.
And if you haven't seen The Mask of Zorro, like me, I watched it like 20 years ago, a more relevant to pop culture example might be the Dread Pirate Roberts from The Princess Bride. It's implied that he passes that mantle on to Inigo.
The next trope is the do better than I did trope.
This is a good example from Tony Stark when he is teaching Peter Parker as Spider-Man. He says, you can do things better than I did. I made these mistakes. Don't make the same mistakes that I did in this process. And we were talking about the MCU Tony Stark, Peter Parker relationship here.
One of the most common tropes that you're going to see in connection with the mentor character is the montage sequence. So the Shifu teaching Kung Fu Panda how to do Kung Fu stuff. These sequences that involve the hero and the mentor, where the mentor is training the hero how to get better.
Sometimes your mentor character will be a lot closer to Mary Poppins, where they are the magical nanny And they are there to help teach, to help guide your character, especially as they learn magic. I almost want to say this is the beavers in the Chronicles of Narnia, where they kind of act as a little bit of that starting nanny guide to the Pevensies children as they're first learning and growing within Narnia.
I can see that a little bit, yeah. The last common trope that you're going to see is the like a son to me. It's very rare that your mentor character and your hero are genetically related, but they will often have a bond that is as tight as a familial bond. The mentor character saying, I adopted you and I raised you to be a hero. You are like a son to me.
Mentor characters often share similar traits. The reason for this is because they do play that very specific role of helping train, helping the hero grow and learn, but not actually carrying out the story themselves. So going along with that, they usually have all of the skills of the hero without the capability of doing it themselves.
There does tend to be an age gap between the mentor character and the hero, especially in these hero's journey type stories. In the case of some of the more modern, especially non-action based stories, they will be a friend who is teaching them, no, this is how you have to behave in this particular culture. So think about your genre when you're deciding the age gap between these two characters.
Traditionally, a lot of your mentor characters are male. Now, it doesn't have to be for your story, but you'll find a lot of the mentor characters within fantasy, sci-fi are male characters.
Which is interesting because the word mentor comes from a Greek myth where Athena dressed up as a person in order to teach a hero how to be a hero. So initially, way back in the day, the word mentor was feminine, but it became masculine as we've told more stories throughout history.
Sometimes you also have the mentor that had a student that has gone bad before. This is your Obi-Wan character, where he had Anakin and he turned to the dark side. And now he has Luke, and he is trying to avoid all the mistakes that he made previously with Anakin in hopes that maybe this one won't turn to the dark side.
I do feel like a lot of mentors have that teacher self-identification, so there's often a history of teaching. Now, in Kung Fu Panda, Shifu had Tai Lung, had the villain, so it's very common to have a connection between your mentor and the evil. Some of your archetypes are the trickster mentor or the evil mentor. These mentors are teaching for their own gains in some regard. The evil mentor is the one who is using his students and taking credit for their victory. You see this a lot when the mentor character is an actual teacher in college.
You can also have the hermit guru mentor. This is your Yoda kind of character where they are out, they've isolated themselves because of worry of whatever. So he has become a hermit. Luke has to seek him out in order to train with him.
You'll often see the spiritual advisor, and this goes for a lot of the non-human mentors, so the animal companions. The mentor character is a god in animal form.
Sometimes your mentor is a fairy godmother who comes down and gives the hero a chance, an opportunity that they then have to take and work with to achieve their goals.
And one of my favorites is the old convict mentor. The one who we all know has had some terrible things in their past, and it's their own fault. So when the convict comes to teach the hero how to be a hero, there's a weird dichotomy that is so much fun to play with.
Now, the purpose of your mentor in the story, as we've kind of talked briefly about through this episode, is to train and help the hero, but not do it for them. Your mentor often needs to fall somewhere around the 2/3 mark, right near that end of the second act. This fall of the mentor is often connected very closely with the hero's darkest hour.
If you kill the mentor too soon, then we don't get enough training. They stop feeling like a mentor character. If you kill them too late, the reader is often wondering why they didn't just do it themselves.
Now, of course, the mentor doesn't actually need to die. We're both fans of that happening.
Yay!
But if you don't want to kill your mentor character, that is fine. You just need to have a fall of some kind that means they can't be around to do it themselves. They have to be injured or taken away, or something gets in their way of being with the hero at the end.
And of course, their main purpose in this story is to introduce the hero, and therefore the audience, to the concepts of the world. This is how the Hunger Games work. You need to know this, this, and this in order to survive.
Because as they explain it to the hero, that is then in turn explained to the audience. It's very convenient.
But this is also why you see this type of character popping up very frequently in your spec fic, in your sci-fi, in your fantasy. Because the culture is different, we need to teach the audience, therefore having a mentor character to guide the audience is helpful.
Mentor characters can be one of the most meaningful, one of the key elements to a story, to the connection that readers have with it. Because again, readers are often learning from the mentor characters just as the hero is. Really take into consideration if you need a mentor character and then what role they will play, what kind of service will they have for the main character as you go. And then, of course,
write selfishly.
If you have a question or comment for our hosts or a topic you'd like us to cover, send us an email at writingroots@aspenhousepublishing.com or find us on Facebook by searching for Aspen House Publishing.